Okay, so let's talk about budgeting. So, first of all, having a budget is extremely important. If you don't understand where your money is going, who's charging you for what your expenses are like, you're most likely going to have major financial problems, and which all could be avoided with a simple spreadsheet and an understanding of your bills. So, being aware of what you're paying for really teaches you a lot. And when you're in a bind, you can really save a lot of money by having this awareness. And starting really young and keeping track of your expenses will teach you how to do it when you're older. So, and it's really important that you have an estimate of where you want to put your money. So, for example, I'm putting 10% of my gross income into a retirement fund because I'm really unhealthy, so I probably won't be able to work when I'm 53. So hopefully, I won't be able to work when I'm 80. So hopefully I'll be able to retire with a retirement fund. I also have savings for emergencies and things like that, 10% of my net income. And then I have a certain amount of money I can pay for entertainment a month, and a certain amount of money that I can pay for groceries a month. And having these kinds of estimates is extremely important. And it really keeps you up your game, and you won't have issues. And it's really simple, basic math. So by knowing your expenses, you're also able to manipulate your expenses in a way that will really help you out. So if you understand, for example, how much money you're putting in groceries and to specifically what, and you necessarily can't afford a lot, you can really vastly cut your grocery expenses by being extremely efficient in your meals. So first of all, cooking your meals, homemade, is hundreds of times cheaper than going out. Even going to fast food and even buying like those 90-cent, like those microwave meals. So why I say this is, and necessarily, I mean, it can be extremely cheap, and it won't necessarily be that tasty, although it can. But I mean, you can buy, if you go to the right places. I mean, you can't go to Whole Foods and expect to get really cheap groceries. But if you go to the right places, you do your research and you create meal plans to ensure that you won't waste any food whatsoever. You can plan out your whole entire week and really have cheaper food expenses. I mean, you can buy 10 pounds of rice for a few dollars and then survive off that, for example. Of course, this isn't really viable if you have a family or things like that, but I mean, as a person living in his car in his 20s, I'm perfectly fine with having this bag of rice, going out to the river and cooking it. I mean, it's perfectly fine, it's tasty, and, grab a bag of vegetables, and you're good to go. So being able to really, really plan this out, especially when you can't afford to waste anything, will make you a lot healthier because you won't have to rely on the $1 hamburgers from McDonald's. And you won't have to rely on the 99-cent meal plans, or like ramen noodle meals, which are actually quite expensive compared to other things. So, for example, I want to pay $200 a month for groceries. Now, this is really, really difficult, but I'm cooking every meal. I am using foods, like I'm not eating only fruit for dinner. I mean, I'm using foods that really fill you up and are healthy. You can put vegetables in absolutely anything. So I can go from rices to quinoa to, occasionally your chicken and things like that. I mean, you can make 100 different, for example, you can make 100 different types of rice dishes, and they'll become healthy. They will be healthy if you put the proper amount of protein, the proper amount of vegetables, and you can survive all of it for a relatively cheap price. Anyway, I guess my point is when it comes to budgeting, be extremely sure where you're putting your money and always look for the cheapest deals. And, because you could really overpay for some stuff.